Coming up on UGTV, Board of Commission meeting of the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas.
I'd like to thank you for attending tonight's commission meeting. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. Would the clerk please call roll?
Roll call. Markley.
Here.
Walters.
Here.
Philbrook.
Here.
Bynum.
Here.
Burrows.
Here.
Townsend.
Here.
McKiernan.
Here.
Mugia.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Kane.
Here.
Alvey.
Here. This evening, our invocation is being given by Sister Therese Bangert of Our Lady in St. Rose Catholic Church. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Loving God, merciful one, we come this evening looking to the heavens, asking you again to rain your spirit on the mayor and these commissioners as they begin this meeting. We come to asking that in your mercy you would send us rain, rain to water our community gardens, rain to water the beautiful flowers throughout our community, rain to water our lawns. Send the rain of your spirit and the rain from your clouds to bless and refresh us, that we might continue to make decisions for your reign in this community. And God, we lift up to you again the families of Deputies King and Rohr. We name especially Connor, Emily, and Lexi, the little ones, Bailey and Austin, the children who suffered the loss of their parent. Give them the strength and peace that you desire to give them. We lift up to you the family in blue of this community. Give them the strength and peace that you desire for them. And I pray in the name of our brother Jesus, the risen one, amen. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sister, for the invocation. I'd ask the clerk, are any revisions to tonight's agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, a blue sheet has been distributed. Under the administrator's agenda, we have additional information. It's regarding item number 1F, is submission of an attachment A, which is the yellow sheet.
Thank you. That takes us to our consent agenda. Does any member of the commission, staff, or citizen in attendance tonight wish to set aside any item on tonight's consent agenda? You would need to step forward at this time, state your name and city of residency for the record, and we ask that item be set aside. If an
Move
item
to approve
is
all
not,
as submitted.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane. The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. Next is the administrator's agenda, and so it's the budget items. Before we begin, I'd just like to thank all of our staff for their hard work and the commission for your review of what was presented to us by staff. Thank you, staff, for guiding us through it. It's a lot of work, but I think we've done a good job of allocating our resources, limited as they are, well. So the commission began working on this budget in March at our budget retreat. We held our first public hearing also in March. We've been working through it diligently. It's been a long process. Again, thank all of you for your commitment to this. So I'll turn it over to Administrator Doug Bach to make some comments.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. Mayor, appreciate your words on that. Yes, tonight is the accumulation of many months of work by the governing body, as well as many members of staff as they've gone through and prepared their budgets. Before you this evening, you have a series of 6 different resolutions or ordinances which we'll be seeking approval on that vary over very different parts of the budget as far as where we are from where we set the mill rate for the library board, which is submitted to us through our general fund operating budget and all the various funds and operating sources that come into this. Mayor, I would ask that I want to state that one of the things about tonight's budget, it is predicated, the general fund budget is predicated based on the fact that our revenue sources continue to come in as they currently are coming in, and that includes our sales tax rate. As you're all very much aware, we have a 3/8 sales tax on the budget. So as we went through and the budget is proposed with a 2 mil reduction on the city mill side, that assumes that our revenue flows will continue in future years as they are now. If for some reason that election were not to go in the direction of a positive vote for it, I would be requesting you to call the commission back together for reconsideration of that mill rate reduction, as I don't believe our long-term forecasting was all based on the fact that we would see that sales tax in place of property tax for future years.
Thank you. That is noted.
I would ask, Mayor, also tonight, before we go through the votes on this, that if you would join me in front down by the podium, I'd like to recognize our finance budget staff. For the 5th straight year, they have received the Distinguished Budget Award from the Government Finance Officers Association. So with that, I'd ask Kathleen Von Atchen, our Chief Financial Officer, Reginald Lindsay, Debbie Johnson, our Deputy Director, and all the rest of the budget staff to come forward, and we'll present you with this plaque. There we go.
This is quite heavy.
And with that, Mayor, I would recommend that you move forward with the budget as recommended and is on the agenda tonight.
So the first budget item is setting the library board tax rate. Any members of the commission have any comments or questions?
Move to approve item 1A, a resolution regarding library board tax rate.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
The vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. Next is setting the downtown self-supporting municipal improvement district tax rate. Members of the commission have any comments or questions?
Move to approve item 1B, an ordinance regarding the downtown SSMID.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane. Vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
Thank you. Item C is setting the sewer service charges. Any members of the commission have any comments or questions?
Move to approve item 1C, an ordinance regarding sewer service rate.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
No.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane.
Aye.
The vote is 9-1. That motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution, item D, is setting the BPU pilot rate. Any comments from commissioners?
Move to approve item 1D, a resolution regarding BPU pilot rate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
No.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane.
Aye.
The vote is 9-1. That motion carries.
Next is the 2018-2019 Annual Action Plan for Community Development Block Grant.
Move to approve item 1E, a resolution regarding the annual action plan for community development block grant.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane.
Aye.
Vote is 10-0. That motion carries.
And our final item is the amended 2018 budget and the 2019 annual budget, which includes the revisions as outlined in the administrator's yellow sheet.
Move to approve item 1F, a resolution and ordinance regarding the 2018 amended budget and 2019 annual budget.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Townsend?
Thank you, Mayor. When we met last Monday, I believe there was a letter presented by the sheriff and chief of police regarding the integrity unit that our DA had asked that we be funded for 2019. And I had expected that we were going to have a brief meeting tonight where I would have brought this up. But having read the letter, I would ask that this body take the money that's been allocated in the budget, but remove the asterisk from it, so to speak, so that this money that we put aside be readily available and accessible to the DA's budget. And here's why I'm saying that. As I read the letter, there are backstops that would preclude the DA from just, I want to use a fancy word, but willy-nilly will do, from just letting people out of jail. We all know about the McIntyre situation, and by having this money made available to him, he can do in an accelerated pace what he said he's already begun to do, which is to look at certain cases so the interests of justice, which is the obligation of his office as well as the sheriff and the police, to make sure that no one spends more time in jail than they should when they are indeed innocent. Now, this doesn't mean, obviously, that everybody who makes the plea in this integrity unit is going to walk out. The courts are going to make sure that doesn't happen. But what one of us would want to spend 1 second, 1 hour, let alone 23 years incarcerated for something he or she did not do? Just as the sheriff and the police, the chief have come to us in the past for money, for equipment and staffing that they need to do their jobs, I would ask that we give the DA the same thing that he's asked for here and make it immediately available to him. That's my motion or my comment. Thank you.
So we have a motion that has been seconded on the floor, so we have to take a vote on that. And it does not include that suggestion. So I suppose we go for a roll call. I see no other questions or comments. So we had a motion and a second on what was presented with the asterisk item that is set aside in a special fund until such time we would get some direction from the Attorney General as we originally indicated on Monday. And so Commissioner Townsend, your comments came after the motion was made. So we will pursue with that motion and take a vote on the motion as presented in the budget. Correct? Did you have another comment, Commissioner Townsend?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the involvement of the Attorney General, that will happen or when it will happen. And nevertheless, even if it does, I still would like to see the DA be equipped to pursue justice and be given the resources he needs to do the work that he says he's begun to do, but be able to do it at an efficient and expedited rate, just as we support the other arms of law enforcement. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. But Mr. Moore, can you advise? We have a motion on the floor. The correct procedure is for us to vote on that, correct?
That's correct. The motion was to adopt it as set out in the budget documents with the yellow sheet corrections. I would point out that the asterisk only leaves up to the commission to make the determination of when it's to be utilized. It doesn't rely or it's a contingent upon any response from the Attorney General.
Correct.
The commission has to take further direction. But again, the motion is just to adopt it as it's stated. If that motion passes, then that's what we'll do.
All right. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Markley.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Townsend.
No.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
No.
Johnson.
No.
Is that a no? Kane?
Aye.
The vote is 7-3. That motion carries.
Thank you. And Commissioner Townsend, this will be revisited, and we'll have an opportunity to appropriate the money as allocated. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have adopted the budget. Thank you very much for your hard work. That concludes our meeting for the evening. We are adjourned.